As you already know, President Joseph Nima BOAKAI departed Liberia for the United States with a couple of ministers to attend the 80th United Nations General Assembly in New York City. On the trip, he will meet, numerous head of states and, CEOs of companies for bilateral and investment talks. And he will end the trip by the end of the month of September by attending a Liberian Diasporan Conference in Washington, D.C., right? This is, of course, without even wasting any time, going to the United Nations General Assembly, especially now that we have been elected as a temporary member of the Security Council, you know, people are asking questions. What are we going to get out of this trip? What can we get out of the trip? What should we do, expect from the president to bring back from this trip, from the United Nations General Assembly? If that is the question, then I think the answer is not far away. I don't think that we should be expecting anything from the United Nations General Assembly, from our president, from the government, because I mean, it's not a Liberian problem. That's not a Liberian problem at all. I think it's an African problem. Every year, we go there, and all we do is just be observers. That's all we do. Going to the United Nations General Assembly is like a complete waste of time. We just go there, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter what brilliant idea you come up with. Nobody's really paying attention to what I'm saying. And we being the newly elected temporary members of the Security Council, it seems like, oh, that is a special seat for us. It means that we are more important than the other members, but it's still the same thing. It's just a performative role. At least this is my opinion, right? But at the end of the day, I don't think the entire trip is gonna be lost. I don't think the entire trip is going to be a for nothing trip. Like to say that we'll not be able to get nothing out of it. Yes, we'll be able to get something out of the trip, but I don't think it will come from the United Nations General Assembly, right? I think it will come from some of those bilateral talks with those head of states and CEOs of companies. You know, I believe this is where, if we really perform well as a government, as a representation of the government, the president might be able to bring some good news back from that trip. And of course, the last one, which is the conference, the Liberian Diaspora Conference, that is scheduled by the end of this month to be held on the same trip. I think we can get a lot from that trip, especially if the president can, if the delegates can really put real thoughts into this and try to convince the Liberians that are in the diaspora in America, some of whom that have really, really good hands, to come back home and invest. There are a lot of Liberians in the United States of America, and they come back home. And when I say home in this term, I mean Africa. And a lot of them coming back to Africa, they are not going back to Liberia for one simple reason, and that is why security, lack of security. We just saw 80th U.N.G.A came from Canada and got murdered in Monrovia. So a lot of these people, they want to come back home. They miss their home. Some of them have been living in the West for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And they want to, they want to come back home. They want to, some of them have good, assets, and they want to come back and invest in their homes, just like other Africans are doing. But the question mark is always there. Like if I'm in Liberia right now, how safe is it compared to other places? It is Africa. Liberia is Africa. Ghana is Africa. But if I can go in Ghana and I'll be more safe compared to Liberia, why would I have to stay, force my way to go to Liberia? So this is a $1 million question that the delegates have to answer, the president have to answer. I believe during that conference, the president doesn't even have to do much to convince the Liberians that are in the diaspora in the United States to come back home. I don't think he really need to do a lot, but to convince them to come back home. But when they come back, there is a lot that need to be done for their expectations to be met. So of course they are Liberians, and because of that, they love the country. They want to come back. All you have to do is just give them a couple of motivational, encouragement talks, and all of a sudden they will be on board. But at the end of the day, can you deliver on those promises? You go there and you make all those big promises, and then the people will be like, all right, yeah, it's our motherland, you let go, And then they come, then nothing changes. What do you think is going to happen? You know what I mean? So I believe that we can do a lot with this. I hope and wish that our security system was already very, very great. Our education system was already great, very, very great, because if those two things are taken care of, talking about Liberian diaspora coming back home, you don't even need to tell them. Why do you think they are coming to places like Ghana? They are coming back to places like Ghana and Gambia because the security system in those places and the education system in those places are top notch. Like, they don't joke with these things. But in Liberia, we are lacking hugely in those sectors, right? We are lacking hugely. And I think that this is where we need to really focus on mostly as a government. You know, the president has to come back and really, really focus on the security sector and the education, our education system, improve those sectors very, 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 very well. Then you have removed the worry of the people, the fear of the people to come back home. You wouldn't have to go through a lot of strings to convince somebody to come back to their home. So this is it, man. This is my belief. I believe that this trip, the president can be able to get something out of it for the country, but I don't think it's going to come from the United Nations General Assembly. The United Nations General Assembly is just a waste of time, complete waste of time, to be frank with you. We're going there, we're not making any difference. And I'm not just talking about as a country like Liberia, I'm talking about as the entire continent, as Africa. We are not doing anything. I don't think we are making any changes there. And I stand to be corrected. I stand to be corrected. I think we're just being dragged there every year to go sit down and listen and be told what to do, and that's what it is. So yeah, the United Nations General Assembly, you guys will definitely attend it. Grace it just like the way it has been done in past years and whatsoever. But your focus should be on those meetings, those talks that you're supposed to be having with those world leaders and investors, company CEOs and owners, and of course the diaspora conference, the Liberian diaspora conference, that you should spend most of your energy on and deliver on those parts. If if that happens, I think the trip will not be for nothing. That is my 2 cents, for now. But we are still paying attention because the trip is going to take a whole month until the end of this month, September. That's why I believe that a lot of officials did not make the list. I think there were about 5 or 6, officials, ministers that went with the president. Not like the previous trip in Japan where there were almost 25, officials that went with the president, and which got a lot of criticism from left and right. Right, but anyway, yeah, this is what it is. Let's keep our eyes open on this particular uh, uh, trip that is already ongoing right now, so that we can be aware of everything that is going on. And yeah, stay tuned. Like our video, follow our page. We'll definitely keep updating you guys, as things unfolds.